All right, we are here coming up in 5, 4, 3.
Oh! Wow, this is so exciting. What an exciting night. It's a very exciting Shabbos. I want to say that I don't know what's happened to the country, but suddenly I'm now available on Prime Video, which means I guess it's good to be funny again. So that's wonderful. I have a one-person show out there, and I'm shocked and surprised. And I can't get canceled anymore, right? Can't cancel, can you?
No.
Can't cancel. Born canceled. And my name is Sunda Kronquist, and I am the director of the LA School of Comedy, and I'm so happy to be introducing the Film Actors Cafe, which is coming in from the Bay Area, San Francisco to be exact, and the director is right here, Aaron McIntyre. A round of applause for him. And we always need somebody that keeps these reels running, and that's so important to me, and so that's why we give it up for Billy Ramirez for having such love in the house. Now that we're doing that, I wanted to do something a little different, and say if you're here for the first time performing, it's 10 minutes. When that light comes on that you can't miss, don't stare, because you need ultraviolet glasses, okay? So while you guys aren't here, I'm getting my stuff done. So don't stare. And you have 2 minutes to wrap. And you need copies, you need reels, you need this, you need that. That's the guy. Please don't ask me to do your Instagram, because I'm going to do something stupid. I am. I'm going to post something stupid. So stupid, like I took pictures of stitches on my toe and posted it by accident because it was right next to the graphic. It was horrible. I have to get a tow truck. All right, so that's what we do here, a little bit of comedy. I teach. We have kids camps. Oh, God. We have kids cages. That was a joke. I was talking about my family, my daughter, Satan and Lucifer. And Lucifer's the baby. They're very exciting these days, telling me about my feng shui. I thought they were talking about I was funky or something, you know? You're like, no, you have to stand this way, not this way, not that way. It's the same fucking thing. I'm at the crosswalk and I can't go anywhere. And you get tickets out here. Did you know that? Like, for real. My guy, what's his name again? Oh, Kill. His name is Kill. You got to see this comic. He's very funny. And he stepped out. You know Kill, right? You don't know Kill? Theo Kill? He has a podcast. He has a lot going on. He comes here, steps off the curb, 5 cop cars. 5 cop cars. I'm so embarrassed. It's his first time here. He's from Arkansas or Oklahoma or somewhere. And I just come out to the cops to say, you know, listen, he's a comedian. And the guy's like, you don't know who I am. And he's like, he's throwing out credits. They don't care about credits. They care nothing about credits. I couldn't believe it. And then I said to the cops, we've got a word with you. He said, you better take your kids and get back there. And 5 of these kids were not mine, but I left. Because once you go to jail, you don't want to go back.
No.
Well, it's nice to hear the white people say the same thing we say.
Yeah.
Thank God they don't put you guys in. I mean, when we were young, we would keep cars on our boyfriends if they cheated on us, so you better be nice. And so listen, you're experimenting for the first time. Want to go for 2 minutes? You want to go for 2 minutes? Yeah.
But I have no
concept
of whatsoever we're doing here.
Okay, you know what? I tell you what, let's have some fun first, see what they're doing, and I'm going to start it off with a bang, big comedy. I love them every way you can. Let's open up with the comedy of the one and only Lee Shorts.
First again, huh?
Hey, lucky you.
Yeah.
I'm first.
All right, that's true. I like that. That's a good way to look at it. It's just good to be here. Almost made it out without getting, permanently crippled by my girlfriend. So that, anything's better than being there. So sometimes I just feel like it's kind of like exiting a slap fighting competition. I don't know if you know what slap fighting is. It's the dumbest thing. It's people sit up opposite each other, take turns slapping each other in the face, which is really ridiculous. It's really dumb. It's an actual sport, so you take turns hitting each other, and then there's a knockout if one guy falls off the stool, and they should all be slapped for participating in such a ridiculously stupid sport. And you could probably go to a bar and see the same thing. Someone knocked off a stool. Same thing. But that's like kind of my house, getting out of my house. But tonight it was, yeah, she didn't give me too much hard time, so that's a relief. And she reminded me though of I'm seeing my brother this weekend, which yeah, it's good. It's all right. It's all right. Better than my girlfriend. So at least that's one way to look at it. There's always a bright side, and although seeing my brother is sometimes difficult, he doesn't pass up any opportunity to tell me how awful I was to him when he was a kid. Every single time it's the same thing. You know, I would beat him relentlessly, unforgiving, you know, and probably traumatized him completely. Beat him all the time at Nintendo all the time. That was terrible. You know. But no, really, the worst thing I ever did, honestly, was I'd buy him gifts I liked, actually. And by default, I would get his gifts. So essentially, I was buying gifts for myself. That wasn't very nice. But you know, there are worse things I did. I never told him he was adopted. You know, but I said, there's a good chance you are. I have no proof of this, but, you know, take a look at the records someday. And, you know, when you get old enough, you'll understand what disowned means. Disown, and then I explained. He was little, so I'd say disown means they essentially, they give you back. And they give you back. And, you know. But honestly, I mean, I was a pretty good brother. You know. I just had when I was 8 or 9, sometimes you hear things that you're not sure about. You think they're real, you think they're true or not. So I really honestly thought if you threw someone in a pool, they would learn how to swim. I mean, and that was really a legitimate thing, and I had no intention of hurting my brother. I wanted to teach him how to swim. But what I learned quickly is how to try to save my brother. I learned that pretty fast. But lucky when I threw him in the pool, it wasn't in the deep end, so I wasn't terrible. You know, I could have thrown him in the deep end. That would have been awful. But it happened to be that my grandma was with us, and she saw it, and she ended up jumping in to rescue my brother. So, got him out. He was crying. I felt terrible. And then, I tried to apologize to Grandma, and she just said, "Wait till I get home." And she said, "You're not getting any of my cookies ever again." So. And then later that day, I didn't get any of the cookies, but my mom came home and slapped me in the face for she's trying to drown my brother. She said. I didn't. All right, I was, but it's it hasn't eaten me up all day, but a lot of things, I swear, things only happen to me. Honestly, last week I mentioned it. I was driving. I was coming up to a stoplight. Just before I got there, I sneezed and my foot hit the gas instead of the brake. I went right through the light. The motorcycle cop was right there, flagged me down and pulled me over, which more like walked over. Usually a cop, he's rolled down the window. I said, he's like, "Well, you know what just happened back there?" And to myself, I was thinking, back there, this was 5 seconds ago, 10 feet away, back there. Do I have a bad memory? But of course, I'm being the polite guy I am. So I said, I went through the red light. That's what I did. and he's like, he looked at me in this way, like he almost broke cop character for a second, because, he looked at me, he's puzzled, and he didn't say a word, and then walked up back to his car, like rated in probably that there's this idiot who just, I don't know. I thought he was going to give me the biggest ticket. There was. Somehow he put in evading arrest somehow because I was, I don't know how, but he'd get that. Comes over, gives me a ticket, and I look at it. He says, in all my years of law enforcement, I have never heard that before, ever. And he said, whether you're right or wrong, it's entertaining to me. And he's like, go. So I went. And it was a warning. And I was relieved. I was really relieved because I didn't have to cry this time. But I was ready to do it. I was ready. I was prepared to do it. Whatever it took to get out of a ticket, I was willing to do. I appreciate you all listening. Thank you. You can find me in Lee.Schwartz. Shorts. S-C, like shorts. S-H-O-R-T-S. Shorts. Shorts, like shorts. Yes, I can spell.
There you go.
Barely, but I can. Yep.
I'm going to watch you.
Dot 585, backwards and forwards. Not done yet. Don't walk away. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4. And somehow you find this, good luck. I mean, it'd be a miracle yourselves. All right.
Who wears short shorts? Lee Schwartz wears short shorts. Oh my God. Here we are being mighty nice. Oh my God, we got fire and ice. Let's give it up for the comedy of Sosa Knight. Let him hear you.
Man, that was so smooth. Man. If y'all gonna see what the retarded shit I write in my joke book, it's fucking... Anyway. So, today at work, I was driving down on Figueroa. I work in the Watts area, right? And, over there, they got a prostitute problem. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? And I'm driving down, and it's 3 prostitutes, and they're selling pussy. You know what I mean? They're in the act of selling pussy. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna lie, the economy is good. It's 3 lines long, 3 lines long for selling. I'm serious. I'm not playing around. I drove up, and I'm in my work van. And I'm honking. I'm trying to get to go. I'm, get out the way. And they well, fuck you, nigga. You want to get out your car fight. They start cussing me out. And at that point, I got ready to fight these 3 prostitutes. And, I'm going to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I looked at these 3 drug-ridden prostitutes, and, I really liked my chances. So, I rolled up, and I was like, I was about to roll down my window, to give them the action. And then one of them takes their heel off and throw it out the window, right? But that's not the worst part. When it hit the window, a mysterious liquid came out the heel and splattered all. And at this point, I realized that prostitutes have evolved to having bioweapons. And I no longer liked my chances. And I drove the fuck away. You know what I mean? So, I still won. Anyway. Man. Yeah, Donald Trump just became president, and that's pretty bad, I guess, pretty bad. But I've been finding it kind of crazy how people have been talking about the immigration policy. You know what I mean? Because, like, I keep seeing on Twitter, people are like, oh, Latino people, do you deserve this? You're getting deported. This is your fault. You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's kind of fucking racist. You know what I mean? Not every Latino person's, illegal selling fucking tacos on the street. You know what I mean? That's fucked up. You know what I mean? I agree. It's fucked up, So... But the worst part about it, though, is like it's really this horrible form of pity racism. You know what I mean? Racism from this place of superiority. You know what I mean? Like I like old-fashioned racism. Come up to me, call me a slur, and get the fuck out of my face. You know what I mean? Keep it simple. You know what I mean? I'm saying the way people are complaining about the immigration policy. They're bitching about it like how a little kid bitches when their older brother goes off to college. You know what I mean? Who the fuck's gonna wash the dishes, and who the fuck's gonna take out the trash and do all the shitty jobs? Like, that's not Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Like, shit's fucked up, dude. You know what I mean? Shit's fucked up. All right, to more controversial things. So, you know, y'all heard about that black school shooter in Nashville?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, you haven't heard about this? It's fucking crazy. Yeah, I know. You know what I mean? As black people, I ain't gonna lie. This nigga shooting this school up is our 9/11.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie, cause we were up on y'all. You know, that's the one thing we had on white people. White people shoot schools, we don't.
Right.
But I ain't gonna lie though, like, I got a couple things to say about this man, cause he's really interesting. You know, he was a Nazi. I know. That sounds like an oxymoron. A black Nazi, like what? That doesn't even make sense, right? And he was in Nashville, Tennessee. So really, this was just like some outcast in the town. You know what I mean? Like, I bet you everyone bullied his ass. You know what I mean? Probably walked to school. Fucking Daryl, look at this guy. That's not the point I'm making. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. That's how mad he makes me. You know what I mean? I just start talking about it and I get filled with fucking rage. But the point I was wanting to make about that man is like, where the fuck did his parents do? You know what I mean? Because I'm serious though. Like, how do you not realize that shit? You know what I mean? Like, I'm 23 years old, but if I was walking around my house and my 17-year-old brother was walking around talking about Auschwitz and fucking wearing Hitler outfit, I would be a little bit alarmed. You know what I mean? I wouldn't just brush that shit on the rug. You know what I mean? That's not teenage troubles. You know what I mean? That's the fucking crazy, man. You know what I mean? Sheesh. Man. You know, I think I want to talk about it. I want to tell a personal dark story of mine. You know what I mean? And so I used to have a gecko. A leopard gecko was like my favorite pet, right? Her name was Nezuko from Demon Slayer. Right? I'm serious. This is my favorite pet. And one day, I moved Nezuko from a plastic bin to a glass aquarium. I leveled her up. And when I did that, she ended up like going insane and like starving and fighting the glass. Like she started killing herself. It was terrible, right? So, you know, being the humanitarian I decided I was gonna have to put my gecko down humanely. You know what I mean? So this is why I have to do a little sidetrack to the story. I recently bought a samurai sword that same month, right? if you get where I'm going, right? You know what I mean? So, you know, I took my gecko out. I tried to feed her the last time. She refused the food. She didn't want to eat the worms at all, you know what I mean? So I ripped open my Wingstop bag. I laid it on the table, you know what I mean? I lit an incense. You know what I mean? I had to set the mood, you know what I mean? This is my last time being with my fucking gecko. And I played that one song. Y'all know that one song, the Why Do Birds Suddenly Appear? You know what I mean? I really had to set the mood, right? And I put my gecko down and I chopped his head off. Yeah, right? I'm serious. That's like the best way. I mean, if you had to go out, right? Like, that's instant. You know what I mean? I mean, what would you rather me do? Chop this nigga in half and he just kind of squirms? No, right? I did him a favor. So anyway, I rolled him up in the Wingstop bag and threw him in the trash. You know what I mean? And honestly, I think that's a warrior's death. Man, how much more time I got? Do I have more time?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna talk about more weird shit I do with animals. That doesn't sound like a serial killer. All right, so anyway, I have snakes too. You know what I mean? I have two snakes, and I like to, you know, I have a Californian king snake. I just bought him from like a little pet store. He was my replacement after I killed my leopard gecko, because I was sad. I lost pets, so I replaced him. Right. So this is fucking terrible, man. I'm gonna be on a watch list after this. But anyway, so I bought this, you know, and when I buy this little king snake, it always actually. Oh my God, it's a fucking bum fight outside. This shit's legendary. All right, I work in homeless services. You don't get to see bum fights all the time. All right, this shit's legendary, dog. We got. Fucking bum fights, dude. What the fuck, man? Holy shit, dude. You know something funny about working homeless services? People think that you know, everyone always calls homeless people the unhoused. But it's funny because like we really just call them niggas like bums and shit. like they don't really care. Like actual homeless people don't care if you call them unhoused. You know what I mean? That's the funny. Actually, you know some real funny shit. Now I'm just talking. Now I'm just going on random tangents. I was watching this YouTube video. And like it was this like news thing, right? And this lady, she was like, "We gotta stop catcalling," right? Which I agree. We gotta stop catcalling. Shouldn't catcall women. That's fucking terrible, right? I agree. So they went to Venice Beach and they had the girl, you know, do the thing where, you know, girl, big ass booty, she's jogging around and everyone's, whoo. Well, this like homeless guy, right? It's obvious homeless guy. Like he's on Venice Beach laid out like, "Urgh." He goes, dang, you're beautiful, I love you. So she stops, they stop, and the whole camera crew, they go up to this homeless dude, and they're like, hey, looking at him, they're like, how do you feel catcalling a woman? How do you feel? Why did you do that? And and there was something so funny because like they were taking this nigga so serious. He was clearly just whacked out of his mind. He was like, because I love her. I really do. I really love her. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was at some insane shit. Do I have 2 more minutes? Yeah. Holy shit, man. We're talking about more wacky stuff. You know what I mean? I got more random shit on my mind. Man, let's go back to that snake story. So anyway, I also have another snake. It's a ball python, right? And my ball python, this is not even funny. This is actually just gonna be terrible. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to say it now that I thought about it. Anyway, so I bought this fucking rat, right? And I put this rat in this tank. And my snake, I don't know what my snake was trying, like, he was like fucking with the rat, you know what I mean? Like, he would walk up to the rat, poke it, and then leave, you know what I mean? And the rat would just scream through the night. Like, it was horrible. And I ain't gonna lie, I started to feel bad for the rat. You know what I mean? So I made a pact to myself. I said, if this rat could survive 5 days, I'll release him to the wild, right? He survived 5 days. I said, oh shit, I'm about to release this rat to the wild. I'm so excited, right? I put him in a little box, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, I gave him a little cheese. I smoked him out. I ain't gonna cap me and this rat. I ain't gonna lie with y'all, nigga. I smoked this rat out, you know what I mean? I was like, you gonna be high when you go out there, man. You gonna be, you know what I mean? This is the kind of shit a 22-year-old just does when he's alone. So anyway, I go out and I release the rat, right? And I swear to God, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning in my neighborhood. I release this rat, and he runs off, and I shit you not, like this rat, and I could tell this rat's faded as fuck. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know rat. I did research before I got this rat high. I Googled, can rats get high, and it said yes. All right. So this rat was fucked up, and he went to the sidewalk. Swear to God, street cat came out, ate the motherfucker. And you know what? I ain't gonna lie. At that point, I felt good. Yeah. But I'll leave you with that now. Anyway, you can find me at sosa.e-night. I swear I'm not weird.
Get that, get go. Get that, get go. Oh my God. Just when you thought this night was interesting, I can just bring home a little something extra to you guys because you're new. And I want to introduce you to somebody who's called America's Sweetheart, the one and only Mark Zaffron. Woo. You gotta get up.
How are you gonna get up there?
I have no idea, but don't fall. Don't fall.
Oh,
Sleep through.
Oh, there you
That's make me crippled up here. Whoa. Oh, that's about my height. Anyhow, I'm not a comic, by the way. I'm a husband. She likes to humiliate me by bringing me up here. So, talking about stoned rats, my wife and my daughter thought they were going to do a good deed. And the weed store downstairs from our apartment in Manhattan had these 2 cockatiels. And all the stoners were coming in every day and just blowing smoke in them. And these poor cockatiels were hanging out and they were drooping. Their feathers were falling off. They bring them upstairs to the apartment. They start getting better. Next thing we know, we got mice. You can't help it. All that fucking food, the mice are going to come. Mice in New York is something you live with. You cannot get rid of them. They're like the Democratic Party. Sunda decides to bring them out here to L.A. I come back to L.A. and my other daughter, Tova, the one that lives in England, here we are making this cage. It's weeks ago, and these mice look like they run the world now. They went from little stoned out things, half dead, to being all over my face. There's one of them can't get rid of my neck. He just going after my chain, just keeps pulling at it. It teaches you a story. No good deed goes unpunished, especially with animals. Never take in strays. And then somebody said to me, they're expensive. I said, yeah, damn right they're expensive. You should see all the toys we bought them. It's like having a puppy dog you bring in until somebody comes and says, that's my dog. Well, anyhow, we're talking about, you're talking about, how people getting upset, about immigration and everything. You know what fascinates me? I sit there, I watch a lot of the news, I read a lot. Why is it that every Democratic elected official is complaining that the problem with mass deportation is there's going to be nobody to watch their kids? There's going to be, who's going to pick our crops? Who's going to wash the dishes? What is this, slavery? What do you bring? They're bringing these, this is true. And then you find out that Nancy Pelosi owns a vineyard. The day she was complaining about, well, who's going to pick the grapes? I found out that not only is she an inside trader, she has a vineyard. See, it's okay if you bring them across the border and you feed them and make them work backbreaking labor in the fields, because they're going to do that naturally. And now, of course, I'm trying to figure out whether the new Secretary of Labor, who's a Chavez, is really going to stand for this, whether the rest of the family is going to write her out of the will or something. The truth of the matter is, you can't think like that. It is wrong. Who's going to build our houses? There are a lot of American people who could use jobs, too. We're just not organized. Right? We're not organized. First thing we should have done when they came across the border is give them an injection. All right? They needed their measles. They needed their mumps. We let these kids go across without their polio shot, which reminds me of something else. Without their polio shot, without their anything else, we let these people way out there. Nobody worried about their health. Now they're in the emergency room in front of you. All they needed was one jab. All right? All they needed was an inoculation, and maybe somebody looked down their throat. See, they were sick, letting all these people out with colds and all kinds of things into the universe. Wrong. It was bullshit. Bringing it back to the homeless, as to your point, they really don't give a shit what we call them. And they are, you know, the truth of the matter is that you walk over to a junkie and you say, "You're homeless?" He goes, "No, man, I just booted up." You work with them, right? It don't work. They're not interested. So we have one woman around here called the Indian lady. Now, this is a sad story in the inception. Why is the Indian lady a sad story? She used to be a psychologist at UCLA. We remember when she was a nasty person with a stethoscope around her neck. All right? Now she's out here on the street. So the other day she comes by and she says, "Is Tova here?" I said, "No, she's home, and maybe you want to call Sudha." "Oh, thank you for the information, but I owe Tova from that loan she gave me $640. And I said, "Well, didn't she just give you $10? Well, with interest, just adding on the interest. So she can add, you know? That's why they send all that work over to Bhopal. You know? Adding, subtracting, it's good for them." And I finally turn around to her and I say, and this is after living with her through the broken arm, the complaints about them not taking care of her, and what it really comes down to, what's worse is her family comes looking for her in a Rolls Royce. All right? Just to bring up the edge on, this is insanity, not a problem that's different than the one they want to tell you. You work with these people, they're junkies. They're drug addicts. They are crazy. They need help. And we just want to give them tents. Well, I just don't. The next thing we're going to be tents and Coleman lanterns. And you go over to the Veterans Administration, they have all these little sheds that you buy at Home Depot for your lawnmower. They have them living in them with little, stovepipes and brought in electricity and porta potties. This is enabling the problem. I know I'm ranting and not telling a joke, but it made me think of Karen Bass, that dumb woman sitting next to Trump today at this. It was like a rally that he's holding up at the fire station. Everybody's coming in, and he walks in. And the firemen start going, "USA, USA." And I'm thinking to myself, maybe Gavin and Karen should get the message that they really haven't paid attention. And you listen to the people from Pacific Palisades and all these congressmen coming in. Didn't make a difference to the party except for Brad Sherman, but he's a moron. And all these people coming in saying, "We want this, we want that." I was fascinated. That's what democracy used to be. You would go down to you were in Salem in 1622. You just finished burning a witch. All right? You'd come down to the church, which also doubled as the meeting center, and everybody'd sit around and bullshit and say what they were complaining about. "You stole my cow." It was like Tevye. It's a horse. It's a mule. It's a horse. But that was representative democracy. People had town halls. They sat. It was fascinating to watch something so atavistic. And he's sitting there saying, "Listen, here's the bottom line here. I am waiving all federal, permit requirements." I didn't know there were any. I thought it was real good grandstanding. But what he did do, he said, "I'm signing an executive order to have no power to the California Coastal Commission." Now, it's fascinating to watch how things change and they morph, and how funny some people are. And they don't pay attention. Brad Sherman actually stood up there and said, you know, I want to defend FEMA. You could have heard a rat piss on cotton. It was like a black man walking into a KKK meeting. It was just not something that was going to get done. You know, I want to defend FEMA. This man just spent the last 4 hours getting rid of FEMA, and you come in there with your bald head, you're going to defend it? He's crazy. I think that the next 4 years are going to be the golden age, not necessarily of America, but stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
Every stand-up comic that has been repressed over the last 4 years is going to come back. You know what? The whole purpose of stand-up comedy, and as I said, basically I'm an M&A lawyer, just to let you know. The whole purpose of stand-up comedy is to make fun. So I was watching this Israeli comic the other day on YouTube, and some guy yells out, "What about Gaza?" And he said, he stops his show and he says, "Why is it that every time I'm an Israeli and every time I come, I'm supposed to be the ambassador for Israel?" And you run over to me and say, "Why'd you do this?" I'm telling jokes. This is not supposed to be real here. We don't have facts at comedy shows. And I don't know why people expected facts at comedy shows. You're coming up here, you're making up stories. You didn't really cut your gecko's head off with a samurai sword. You used those steak knives you got. Well, you're sawing away at that thing. Because God knows, why did you buy a samurai sword? Why does anybody buy a samurai sword? What are you going to do? Oh, right? Now, 30 minutes ago, if I went, what would I be called? I would be called a racist. No, I just watched too much of the Seven Samurai. That's what they do in the Japanese movies, right? Did anybody just see the new Shogun? They all sound constipated in these movies. But that was a good one. All in Japanese, didn't understand a word. But I loved it anyhow. Everybody's giving it an Oscar. You know why they're giving it an Oscar? Same reason they give shitty foreign films Oscars. Because if they don't understand it, they can't confuse themselves. Most of these people are confused. I mean, it's all about it. It's all about confusion. I can't wait for Chappelle to go off the rocker worse than he's been doing. But it's time for every comic. Because the whole, I grew up with Jewish humor. Jewish humor meant making fun of yourself. All right? Black people do it. Black people make fun of being black. All right? The only people who don't make fun of themselves are white people. They make fun of everybody else. It's just their thing, They don't know how to, because white people aren't funny. That's really what it is. Sorry, I really apologize. You're German or something? Austrian? German, yeah. I sprechen Sie Deutsch? Aye. See, there's another thing. Why is it that every time someone goes like this or like this, to put him in a Nazi salute? Enough with the Nazis. They're gone. All right? And the last non-joke is, has anybody ever looked into what the Nazi Party really was? It was called the National Socialist Workers' Party. They started out with a full socialist broadline coming in. They were going to save the world from communism. They were going to give everybody a chicken in every pot, a Volkswagen in every garage, and roads. All right? And it worked for a while until they ran out of, other people's money to spend. Then they had to go and invade Poland. They needed their money, too. At the end of the day, listen to some people, and my favorite person to make fun of, and I haven't been allowed to do it for years, is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I love listening to her. All right? She is in the wrong business. She should have been a stand-up comic. Thank you. And I intentionally cannot be found on social media unless you like LinkedIn and want to send me business.
Oh, yes. Never seen anything like that. That's okay, honey. I'm part German. German Jewish. But you know what happens when you're black and white? You know what that makes you, right? Puerto Rican. Hey. Hello! Epa, sigue chocolate. La abusadora. Yes, nobody understands. But they do understand that we have a lot of different comedians here. What name are you going under?
Me?
Yeah, you're going
Avery
up to
Abel.
That was you, right?
That's me.
Okay, because there's another Avery.
Oh.
And I was thinking Avery Birds.
Sure.
But who knows? This little fagula is going to be so funny for us. I love her already. Avery, let's do this.
Woo! Hey, how's it going? I didn't know if I was going to make it out here. I had bronchitis last week. I actually still do. And now you all do too, so that means we all have to hang out since we're all sick. How fun is that? I love making friends. Except my weekends are actually pretty busy. I do birthday parties as a princess. I do Anna, I do Elsa, sometimes I'm a ballerina. But my first boss, I work for a new company now. But my first company, it was a little suspicious. She asked me 3 questions during our job interview. She asked me, "What's your height? What's your weight?" To which I said, 5'8", 100 pounds. And she asked me what my ethnicity was. And so I told her, I'm Irish, I'm German, hey, I'm Italian, and I'm Mexican. So naturally, she suggested that I play everyone's favorite Mexican princess, Jasmine. Yeah, that's right. So if you have seen me, which you all have, that's an interesting choice to have me play Jasmine. And she said, "Nah, the kids won't know. My kids don't even know what Asian people are." She lives in Glendale, so that's really strange because if you've been to Glendale, there are plenty of Asian people. And so she also said, no, I was the best Jasmine that Tokyo Disney had ever seen. And I think she was actually the only Jasmine that Tokyo Disney had ever seen. I looked it up. They don't have Jasmine there anymore. But she said, no, kids won't know. They won't notice a difference between if you're Jasmine, if I'm Jasmine, if Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez is Jasmine. It's all the same. It's all the same. And she said, kids are stupid. To which I said, no, kids are not stupid. I work with a lot of kids. I babysit. I do after-school programs as well. And one of the kids I know, I babysit him. His name is Bronson. Great name. He knows everything that there is to know about ships. Every ship that's sunk, where it sunk, how it sunk, and who sunk it. His favorite is the Britannic. So the Britannic, it's there's this really beautiful side of YouTube, and it's all edits of ships sinking or recreations of ships sinking. And they all have the same song in the background, and he knows every single part of it. So he goes, oh yeah, so this part, Avery, so this is the ship, so this is the ship. Then it goes, there's the same song in the background, all of them. I wish that this lifetime, and it's the boat, and it's animated boat, and all the people are on the boat. He's like, this is my favorite part, Avery. Then the missile comes. The missile's coming. This is the Britannic, okay? So it's this British medical ship, right? It's the Britannic. It's going, and then there's a missile. It's coming. This is my favorite part. The ship sinks, and then the people. Oh my God, they need to escape. He's like, oh, I love this part. We lost for a lifetime. The song keeps going. And every single one of them, the Titanic, the Britannic, it's always this song. They get off the ship. Luckily, these kids are safe. He's like, oh my God, look, they got off the ship. This is my favorite part, though. They get onto these lifeboats. The lifeboat is going towards the propellers. Oh my God, watch this. The propeller kills the people. Oh my God. He's killing it. He loves it. He's pumped about it. And I like traveling. I am afraid of cruises, though, because of this kid. But I was studying abroad last summer. I went to Croatia. Croatia's a great country. Great people, nice people. They have a good reputation for that, hospitality and all that. So I was maybe a little bit too trusting. I was doing a little solo trip around the plaza. It was my first day in Zagreb. It's the capital, for all who don't know. Beautiful city. I'm walking around. I find this little flea market, and I find this man. We get to talking. He seems nice enough, and so he says, hey, I have a van, and I have some dogs in it. Do you want to come see it? So, as a woman who's alone in a foreign country, naturally I said, yeah. And so I follow him over to the van, and what does he have? Dogs. And I didn't get kidnapped. I just got some fun wooden figurines. So that's why you can't always trust stereotypes. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're true, but sometimes you should go to the random vans because now I have another Facebook friend and 2 little fun wooden figurines. And that's pretty much it. This is my first time doing stand-up. So yeah. But if you ever need to find me, you can find at Fairy Tales and Heroes. I do birthday parties, but not as Jasmine. Thank you.
Stand there for a second, right there, picture. Your first time up here. We need more femme fatales.
We do.
We really do. Did you get a picture?
Hold on, are you Fairy Tales and Heroes?
It's my boss's company.
Okay.
Yeah, follow it. Or at Avery Abel if you want my personal content.
Hold on, I was looking her up first.
Hey, thanks.
All right.
Oh, but that one, don't tag that one actually. Tag, yeah, my boss would be mad. At AVERYABELL on Instagram.
Oh. Take the picture.
Okay, we'll take a picture together.
Smile. Wait. You're covering her up.
My
Her
hair.
hair out of the way.
There we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic. That's fantastic. I'm going to bring up the director now of our Film Arts Cafe. You guys got to know that when you're a comedian and you get auditions, you can't make it funnier than the writer. You have to act. You have to he teaches a method that's so beautiful because I'm so high from so many years of partying that I can't remember shit. And he has allowed me to act without worrying about memorizing. But I'll let him tell you about that. And he's funny, too. Let's get up the comedy of Aaron McIntyre. Woo!
Such a build-up. Hi.
Hey.
How are you? Good. I didn't hear anything. How are you? There we go. All right. Yeah, I just needed a little applause. I'm very insecure. My name's Aaron. It's spelled a little different. A-E-R-O-N. It's not A-A-R-O-N. Don't call me Aaron. A-A-Ron. It's not A-A-Ron. I'm also bipolar. Yeah, I thought I'd throw that in. Any other bipolar people in here? Raise both hands, please. I've also got ADD, which everybody has, right? Every person I say I've got ADD, they say, "Oh yeah, me too." So you probably do have ADD. You just were too distracted to raise your hand. So that'll work. Bipolar does not mean that I live on both sides of the world. I don't live on the North Pole and the South Pole. It's not like bicoastal, but the commute is way worse than bicoastal. If anybody doesn't know what that is, bipolar is basically you're manic and sometimes, and then you're depressed sometimes. And I always kind of liken it to, have you ever felt like you're all just a bunch of molecules and atoms and quarks and shit, and we're all one and we're all creating this together and you can't hear the music. Don't you hear the music? Don't you see the colors? And for some people, that's a little much, so they tend to stay away, that don't have a lot of friends, if you know what I mean. And then the other times you're just really depressed. So, feels like instead of feeling like you're all these atoms that I literally thought that I could just disappear. I could just with my mind make all of my molecules spread out into space and become one with the universe. And then about 6 months later, I felt like all of my atoms and my molecules were crushing in on themselves, and you get really depressed. And it doesn't seem like you think this is very funny for some reason. But it does. It keeps people back. People don't want to be around that. And I gotta say, I don't know how many people have some sort of mental illness. Some sort of mental illness. Everybody, raise your hand. Everybody, raise your hand because we're all crazy in some way, right? I mean, everybody's got something, right? You got a little anxiety, a little bit of depression. Just magnify both of those ends. It's kind of like being anxious and then depressed. I had one guy in here who said, yeah, anxiety and depression. I was like, okay, so you're here in this moment. Anxiety is that you're afraid of the future, and depression is that you're depressed about whatever happened behind you, so you're never in the present. So, yeah, am I right? So, anyway, I don't know where I was going with that because I have no... I have ADHD. And so, where are we? Yeah, there's one other thing I have. Oh, sorry, Tourette's. I keep forgetting about the Tourette's. It just pops out every once in a while. Can't really control it. bipolar, it's a lot of fun. But it did kind of give me my method for living, right? Because, you can see the good things. You can see the beauty in the world for 6 months or so, and then you can see how tragic and how difficult life is for the other part. But I'm medicated, so I'm not going to explode. I'm not going to split down the middle and some alien's going to come out or anything like that, unless the medication wears off, at which point clear out very quickly, because it's going to get dangerous. Somebody was talking earlier, you were talking about homeless people, right? I do have to say that I'm a little disappointed. There's not enough people of color in here, because white people, I don't like them. Really don't like white people. I love myself. I think I'm a great person, but I really don't like white people in general, except for the people in this room. Of course, I love you all equally. But yeah, I just always feel like white people are judging me. They're always like looking at me and, I don't know. I don't like to be judged, and I just feel like people of color have already convicted me. So, one person laughed. That was good. Yeah, I just feel like, I'm convicted. I'm white. Yes, I'm bald. I can't help it, I'm thinking about, I'm actually going to get a nose job. I'm getting one in just a little while. See, that's the ADD kicking in, too. It's like, oh, I'm going to get a nose job. I actually am. I got a deviated septum, but I'm thinking about having them give me a nice big bulbous nose so that I can play more garden gnomes, like the Travelocity guy, I think that would go over big. But I have come up with a whole code of ethics, a code that I live by because I feel like white people are just too judgy. And so I don't give money to homeless white people. Won't do it. I also don't give money to people who are out on the street with animals because they've got food right at the end of the leash. They don't need any money. They got it right there. And I don't give money to people who are juggling or standing in one place, doing the robot thing. I don't give money to them either because they don't need food. They need an agent. All right? But I will date a homeless woman. Because, when you got to take her home, no matter where you drop her off, she's there, right? I mean, she's homeless. She can be dropped off anywhere. It'd be great. I've been thinking a lot about the Bible, and reincarnation. How many people believe in reincarnation? How many people? Yeah, you do? Do you remember your past lives?
No.
No? Yeah. Well, it's good to see you again anyway. Because I do believe that when we are reincarnated, we're all doing the same shit to each other. That's the eye for an eye in the Bible, right? Eye for an eye. It means if you take my eye in this life, I might take yours in the next one. So if you're not laughing, you might end up being a comic someday, and I'm going to be sitting out there looking at you like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't understand you. But yeah, the Bible, I mean, it's a crazy book. It's like two books in one, right? It's like, they've got you are loved. You are loved. It's all about love and connection. And you are blessed, and you are blessed, and you are blessed, and you're all blessed. And then the other one is like, yeah, but if your kid fucking talks back to you, you can beat the shit out of them. It's like two different things. You've got the fire and brimstone. One minute they say, if someone doesn't believe you, just walk away. Just walk away. But then they say, but if they don't believe you, go back and kill them. They're fire and brimstone, turn them into salt. They're turning people into salt, which I never understood. That's why I don't eat salt. Because I'm not a cannibal. God damn it. I shouldn't have said that. God. Sorry, God. Smite me. I don't care. Smite me. But God, in Exodus, Jesus, man, that guy, I'm sorry, Jesus, that guy is really, he's really greedy, first of all. He's really, really greedy, and he's a taskmaster, right? He's putting people through all these tests, like go up to the hill and kill your kid. And then, just before he kills the kid, the angel comes down and goes, oh, just kidding. No, you don't have to do that. I mean, think about if that angel couldn't find a place to park, right? I mean, the kid would be dead, and that would be bad. Yeah, I'll work on that one. But Exodus, yeah, he's very, very specific. They made the ark, not the ark that Noah had. I don't know why they called them the same thing. Why they called the big boat and then this little box that carried the fucking boat. I don't know why they made it the same thing. Very confusing to me. But he is very specific about it has to be 2 cubits by 2 cubits. It has to be covered in silk. It has to have gold embroidery on the inside, and then there's curtains, and they've got brass grommets and all this shit, and he's waving his hand before he turns the light on again. I have no concept of time, so that was 2 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, come to the classes. We'll start them late February. Acting classes, I have a new method that really works really well. And you can find me at filmactorscafe.com or at AERONMACINTYRE, anywhere. Thank you very much. Let's bring up Cinda. Huh? Oh boy, you are in for a treat. Get ready to be assaulted by the comedy of Patty. Yeah.
Give me some Patty! Come on! Patty! Give it up! You over here! You give me some Patty! You know what? I got something. I loved you in Sons of Anarchy. Fantastic. He's Ron Perlman, stunt double is here tonight. God bless him.
This is wonderful. Hi, how you guys doing? I'm very happy to be here. I love this. We have probably the hottest throuple in the world right here in front. I want to see, really, because most thruples are like refugees from the Renaissance fair. They smell vaguely of BO and patchouli oil, but not you fuckers. You obviously share a barber with our Governor Newsom. You got a lot going for you, I'm telling you what. You're a slick guy, very handsome. Am I wrong? Is this guy hot? Give it up for this hot guy. I'm secure in my masculinity. I can say that. You are very hot. If you ever went to jail, I'd like to go with you. It's a hot man. I don't care. I'm going to say it. We're here. We have a lot here today. We have Avery. Give it up for Avery. It was her first time. It was your first time. Did it hurt?
Yeah.
A little bit?
A little bit.
It's okay. Don't cry. You'll get over it. But I thought you were very funny. Did you think she was very funny?
Yeah.
You look like the sassy white girl in a breakdancing crew.
Thank you.
And Sosa looks like the guy you're dating just to make your father's racism show. I'll tell you a secret. It pisses his mother off, too. Yeah. Just so you know, you're sitting next to the younger, hotter Sam Bankman-Fried. But that's okay. You're very good looking. Are you a couple?
No.
Oh, that's okay. Were you considering it, or? No?
Just frown.
You would make wonderful. Wouldn't they make wonderful looking children? You could think about it. You don't have to decide anything now. But you should just fuck just to see what happens.
I really like his girlfriend, so.
Oh, even better. You could get some of this action going. Come on, baby. I think we would make an adorable throuple. If you're willing to go elderly. People don't include the elderly in their throupling as much. I would be a very low maintenance third. I would just sit in a chair next to my medication. So you don't just give it some thought. We're gonna do. We also have, in my opinion, the sexiest woman in the world here, Dame Helen Mirren, right here. Thank you, Dame Helen Mirren. God bless you. Thank you for being here and blessing us with your presence. It's great. It's wonderful. And I feel great. I earlier today I was feeling so good. I said, what I think I'm going to do tonight? I'm going to drive 32 miles and pay $10 to be mildly ignored by my peers. How's that sound? Huh? Is that good? And as I'm walking up here, there was a homeless maiden. And she, first of all, she called me Hot George Bush. Which, you know, I'm neither a Republican. It's kind of a microaggression if you think about it. I'm kind of a sexy war criminal, though. You know what I mean? And I'm giving her a $5, you know, because I appreciate it, and it's a good bit, too. You know, $5 is worth it. And a guy walks by, and he goes, hey, she's just going to spend that on drugs and alcohol. I said, that's what I was going to spend it on. Do unto others. You know what I mean, Sam Bankman-Fried? That's do unto others. God, put us here. Oh, I've got good news. Are you ready for some good news?
Yeah.
You can do better than that. Are you ready? Yeah. For some good news. At my wife's suggestion, I recently had my first gay experience. Thank you very much. I went to see Wicked. I went to see Wicked, which the movie, that would be gay, right? Gay enough. I went to the theater and saw it. Woo-hoo. That's gay. Yeah. And you know what? I really had a good time. I really enjoyed it. And, you know, I will admit, I did hold hands with a guy briefly at the LA Arboretum in 2022. So, no, and also there was a little mutual masturbation behind the bait shack. Not a real bait shack. That's a gay bar in Biloxi, Mississippi. And then there was all the anal sex I had back in the Boy Scouts. But I'm actually, you got to get the Eagle Scout one way or the other. Okay, I'll share something with you. You might not like it. I'm wearing my Eagle Scout thong right now. I'm wearing it. It still fits. My Scoutmaster knitted it for me himself. Still fits. Come on, I don't make you. I'm going to share something with you. I come from the Midwest, so I was raised, and I'm a terminally Catholic person. You know, terminally Catholic, very Catholic, extremely Catholic. So I came out here when I was 19, and I'd never had a massage. You know, I'm Catholic, so I'm ashamed of my body as God intended. So I said, I think I'm going to go get me one of those massages, you know. So I'm in there. I'm in the little massage, you know, the little massage room. There I am. And the masseuse walks in and he says, take off all your clothes, which I thought was odd because it was a foot massage. So I did. And I'm standing there with my clothes in my hands. And I said, where should I put my clothes? He said, just put them in the corner next to mine. So, look, I'm going to say something. Again, it was awkward, Helen Mirren. It was an awkward thing. And there was a lot of unnecessary eye contact, if that makes sense. But it's still the third best hand job I've ever had. To this day. And I'm going to say something that Helen Mirren might make you think less of me. I once paid $250 for a hand job. But he was my cousin, and he needed the money. And I let him do it outside my jeans while I was eating an ice cream cone. So, you know, I suppose Helen, I suppose I could have just have given him the money, you know, but he's a registered Republican. I didn't want to deny him the dignity of work. Thank you. The middle-aged muchacho. Thank you, middle-aged muchacho, for affirmation. Also, you know, back in '88, at an Ivy League college mixer, I finger banged Ann Coulter. Yes, I did, Helen. Yeah. I did finger bang her. And I want to say something. Helen wanted to reciprocate, but her hands are so big, I didn't think it would be good for my self-esteem. There you go. Because she has big hands, Avery. I don't know if these guys are getting my references. But here's the good news. The good news is Joe Biden, who's happiest president in history, because every morning he wakes up and they tell him he's president, and he was so happy. But no longer. Trump has been inaugurated. That means there's only two genders, and you can use the R word again. I don't know why that is. But I missed all the other genders. It was fun for a while. You know, you could be anything you wanted. I mean, that was kind of fun. It was like a sexual Build-A-Bear. You know what I mean? I was briefly a barista sexual. It means I was only attracted to people who had difficulty spelling my name. But Joe went a little crazy with the pardons. Am I right? He pardoned 2,500 people in one day last week, right? And then the day before Trump was inaugurated, he pardoned Fauci, Dr. Fauci, which I didn't know he did anything, but apparently he's done something, and his entire family. Interesting. I would do it if I could. But I don't know if you guys know this, but he actually pardoned, I think it was an accident, Jeffrey Dahmer. Do you remember Jeffrey Dahmer? He was a spirit animal, the Army Hammer, Jeffrey Dahmer. You remember him? He was the serial killer who proves the doctrine of white supremacy. First of all, he was Hitler's wet dream. He was 6'4", blonde hair, blue eyes. Just Hitler would have loved him. I'm not going to make any Hitler references to the, but I will say this: the Germans would have been nothing without an Austrian to lead them. Take your time. Take your time. Take your fucking time. I forget where I was at now. I forgot my bit. Where was I at?
Jeffrey.
Oh yeah, Jeff Dahmer. And the reason he proves white supremacy is, you know what he proved? Do you know what he proved? He proved that you could eat people in the United States. You could eat them. Just not white people. No, if you eat 2 or 3 white people, someone's going to come a knocking at your door. You can't do that. Jeffrey Dahmer was the only white guy that lived in a black neighborhood, and he worked at a chocolate factory. That's a whole other thing to discuss. Think about that for a second. Are you guys familiar with Jeffrey Dahmer in Germany? Yeah, he's one of our more famous citizens. He was the only white guy in a all-black neighborhood. Now, we have a thing now called gentrification. Clap if you know what gentrification is. Years ago, we had white flight. So white flight was when black people moved in, all the white people moved out, and gentrification is when they moved back. So that just proves white people should just fucking stay put. Whenever they move anywhere, there's fucking trouble. You know, stay put. But he was the only white guy in an all-black neighborhood, and back then there were only 2 kinds of white people that lived in all-black neighborhoods. Old white people that never had moved away, and homosexual cannibals. That's just math. It's known. Do I have 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So he fucked up is what happened. He fucked up because when he died, they did an autopsy on him, and because he was beaten to death. And they found out that he wouldn't have lived more than 3 months long because he had diabetes and extremely high blood pressure from a diet high in African Americans. But here's the deal. Again, homosexual cannibals and that's math. But Jeffrey Dahmer. I have nothing left on Jeffrey Dahmer. I just realized I've run out of Jeffrey Dahmer jokes. I'm gonna tell you today is a special day because I lost my virginity back in '79 on this day to a chia pet. Back to chia pet. That's just a note to the vaginal grooming habits of the day. It was different then. It was the Bush era. It was the era, not like the Bush administration, the big bouncy Bush. And we loved the Bush too. You know why, Helen Mirren? Because there was pussy behind it. Men love anything if there's pussy behind it. Am I right, men?
Yeah.
But I actually lost my virginity at the Schaumburg Mall, west of Chicago. I'd been selling weed at the food court all day. And one of my customers, Verna, a big, beautiful black woman, she took my virginity on the communal vibrating massage chair adjacent to the Container Store. And it was fabulous. It was fabulous. You know, she was, again, a beautiful woman of color and also a woman of size. I don't like the term chubby chaser. I don't like that term. I prefer big game hunter. Big game hunter, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say something. Give yourself a round of applause because you guys have been mediocre. And I mean that sincerely. I don't mean as an audience. I just mean as people in general. No. Listen, let's rev this up a little bit. Let's keep a little energy going. I'm going to bring the princess on this island of misfit toys to the stage. And I want enthusiasm. Put it together for Sunda Cloudquist. Come on.
We're almost done. I've already forgot. Forgive me.
Daniel.
So
lot.
That's a lot of Daniel. We got a lot of Daniel here. Let's give it up for the comedy of Daniel Solat. Because he's so loved.
I'm going to make this quick.
I've never had to pee more. The Middle East isn't really what it used to be, right? Like, biblical Israel was pretty badass. And then it went through, like, 4,000 years of changes, and now it's, like, a shitty 10th sequel money grab. Like, Israel, like, the Bible was Die Hard, and now the Middle East has gone through, like, Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live for Your Die Hard. And now they're making, like, a dementia-ridden Bruce Willis shoot Die Hard Nakatomi Gaza. America isn't that old, because they won't tell you this, but it used to not be America. So, like, we're still in our first movie that's, like, revolutionary and epic, and it's, like, coming to a chaotic end, right? Like, we are in our stage of, like, Alien, the movie Alien, and Trump wants to turn it into something that's, like, a shittier version, like Predator, and he wants to kick out, like, all the immigrants, so it's kind of like Predator versus Alien. Being a Reformed Jew is like being a fan of golf. There's like 4 big events every year. There's like stuff in between, but you don't really care about it. And even though the people you're worshiping aren't necessarily white, you definitely are. Do you guys have a friend that's like... Thank you. I feel like we all have the friend that's like the sober idiot drunk genius, right? You have that friend? My friend asked me the other day who I think started Obamacare. I was like, I don't know. And then we got drunk and we were just kind of sitting around and she was like, Toto was the only black actor in Wizard of Oz, and it was the most mistreated. And I was like, oh, fucking, yeah. That's a good take right there. I feel like art is supposed to be relatable. Like, it's only good when it's relatable. And a lot of artists talk about drowning, right? Like, there's poets like Emily Dickinson, Pablo Neruda talk about drowning. There's paintings and movies that show drowning. I find it unrelatable when rappers talk about drowning in pussy. It's just not something that I really relate to, right? Like, I've had bad experiences at water parks. I have more in common with those on the Titanic than rappers who drown in pussy. I'm gonna read off this for a little bit. When I was 10, I was the 6th man of the year on my travel basketball team. My favorite song was Just a Dream by Nelly. I drank only hot chocolate, and I was going on year 4 of being in love with a girl. I was in love with her for 2 reasons. 1, she hated me. 2, her cousin played played basketball at Duke. I am telling you this so that when we weave through this story that is my sexual upbringing, you realize that I end up right back where I started, a baller. So I'm 10 and I'm in love with this girl, right? And I get my first pube, and my parents are like, okay, cool, you got your first pube, you did it, get ready, you're gonna get on a bus for 6 hours and go live in isolated cabins with 260 boys who just learned what masturbating is. This is overnight camp. Yeah. Overnight camp is an experience where they go, hey, you're going through puberty, you know those urges you're getting? Explore them. Overnight camp is basically conducting a hormonal case study where the control group is the whole world where genders exist, and the experimental group is an array of sweaty boys. I stopped telling my friends that I went to summer camp because they'll be like, what was it like at Jewish summer camp? And I'll be like, I never said it was Jewish. Jewish summer camp... Never mind. Summer camp was really a weird time for me because I was like everyone's sort of finding their sexuality when they go through puberty, right? And like I'm straight, but I didn't know that I was straight. Like I was at this summer camp with all these boys and we would do things like we would be like, oh, how funny would it be if we all put Icy Hot on our balls?
Oh my God.
And like that's like the first year hazing and it's like a little weird. And then the next year I came back and I was like, oh my God, how funny is it going to be when we all do it again? And everyone's like, I don't think you're getting how this works. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I really have to pee. Thank you guys so much.
Funny when you have to pee. Did you know that?
Yeah? Is that how it works? Thank you so much. Where do we find you?
We need to find you.
You can find me at Daniel_Solot on Instagram.
Can you spell your last name, please?
Thank you so much. Solot.
There you go. Solot.
Sorry. Here we go.
We'll miss you. We'll miss you. You're going to miss your headliner. The end is here already, guys, and it's time to go, but not without the comedy of the one and only one that says, I am the only Billy Ramirez. Here he comes.
¿Qué pasa, familia? Es un placer estar aquí con ustedes en la escuela de comedia
A la chingada. 1, 2, 3. Aaron, hazme un favor that's the one. Thank you very much. Sorry, a little technical glitch. I like to just immediately tell you that I am Latino because I know everyone here, and my chances of being an undercover Latino are gone. Like for example, like I once got free guacamole because a waiter called me a pendejo, and for free guacamole you can call me whatever name under the earth. But anyways. So my name is Billy Ramirez. I am a 43-year-old middle-aged muchacho, as been referenced already. And that's just my way of coping with the fact that I'm getting old and dying. Is anyone else here getting old and dying? Probably. Everyone else is getting old and dying. But for me, I just cope with the fact that I'm getting old and dying in several ways. At 43 years old, I should be slowing down, but I don't know from what, because I've just been working in office jobs my entire career. So it's not like I was, once I turned 30, never been a running back. Suddenly I can't hit the hole, and my 4.25 40 is now a 4.87 or something. Like, no, it's just I've always worked in front of a chair. I'm on a chair. They're getting better in front of a computer screen that are getting easier to look at. But so my point is I just don't know how to age, but. My age presents itself to me in several ways. Like sometimes it's like my brain tells my body, hey, no, hey, wait, you're 43, don't do that. So like one way it presented itself. Actually, one way it presents itself, it just, at 43 years old now, if my life depended on keeping the front of my underwear completely dry for an entire day, I don't think I'd be able to make that happen. Because now at 43 years old, sometimes I just pee myself a little bit, and that happens. I know that's not a problem for you, but it will be. I know Patty makes references to a urologist. I'm not quite there yet, but I will be. Yeah, and then at some point I'm going to sit on my balls. But So another way that my age presented itself to me, like this summer I joined a kickball league, okay? And it was fine. It was a recreational kickball league. I didn't injure anything. But there was one moment where someone kicked the ever-living snot out of a ball. And it just flew over my head in center field. And I thought, I can catch this ball. I might be 43 years old, but I can still run, and I can catch this ball. And I was looking at this ball, and looking at the beautiful summer sky, and thinking about how I'm going to run, I'm going to jump, I'm going to dive, I'm going to catch this ball, and then I'm going to land. And that's when I let that ball sail right over my head. And I figure at that point, 43 years old now is making compromises. For me, it's like, all right, fine. In a split second, I went from I'm about to make the world's greatest recreational kickball catch in the history of recreational kickball to, if we keep him to a triple, I'm fine with not riding in an ambulance today. It's like, really, I'm 43 years old. That's way too late to learn what a broken collarbone feels like. Like another way I feel my age is now at 43 years old, if I were given the opportunity, I know with 100% certainty that I would never, ever, ever try to outrun a fat cop. Like that's for sure out of the question. Like I've never done it. I never did it. But in my younger days, when I felt a little more spry, like, if I saw a Paul Blart-esque police officer, I'm like, I need you to chase me. That'd be hilarious. That little devil would pop up sometimes, but I never did it. But now, I'm 43. And ignoring the fact that cops now are also shooty and they have drones and whatever, I don't think a fat cop or any cop for that matter is going to give me 23 minutes to lightly jog in place and warm up so things don't end tragically. Because if I were to run from a cold dead start right now, I'm for sure blowing out an ACL, MCL, PCH, WNBA, TV VCR combo, which is a reference to how old I am. An O-ring, which is a new concern now in my 40s. Anyways, another goofy way that I'm starting to feel my age is I refuse to learn how to text using any sort of shorthand or slang. Like I refuse to do so. For me, it's proper grammar and punctuation or nothing. And that includes the Oxford comma. But all right, fine. I don't really do that just because I'm getting old, but to be honest with you, I do that just to show off my communication degree, because I certainly don't show it off with where I live or with what I drive or with my career. I don't know if you remember an old episode of The Simpsons. It came out about 20 years ago, and by now they're all old because they're on like season 75, but this episode came out about 20 years ago when I was working towards my lucrative communication degree. And in this episode, the kicker for Springfield University injures his leg in the big rivalry game, and back in the locker room, Dr. Julius Hibbert tries to comfort the poor kicker, and he tells him, I'm afraid you'll never play football again. At least you can fall back on your degree and communications. Oh, dear Lord, no. And the kicker goes, yes, I know he's a funny major. Lubchenko learned nothing. Well, that joke is funny to me again, because it is said that comedy is tragedy plus time. And, well, enough time has passed, and the tragedy is a communication degree. Let's see. I've been reminiscing. I'm thinking about my career. I was reminiscing recently about my first job. My first job was writing for a music magazine called Drum Magazine up in San Jose, California. And it was a fun job, but my boss was a short, angry man. And it sort of showed up every now and then. Like, for example, one time he took me to see this band called POD. I don't know if you remember POD. They had this song called Alive. 2 hits at Alive and the other one. But we went to this concert at the San Jose Civic Auditorium. We met the band. It was fine, whatever. But afterwards, my boss and I went to go have some beers at a bar. And he was talking to me, and I was paying attention to the sports on the TV, and he thought I was ignoring him, so he threw a beer at me. And I was thinking about that, like, oh my God, it's been almost 20 years, and my boss has never, ever apologized for taking me to that goddamn concert. Really? POD? Ugh. Anyways. Speaking of bands, about this. Do you know, so now that you know I know Spanish, I'll tell you this piece of Spanish trivia for you. I don't know if, I realize that I keep looking at the back, at the back wall, because I'd like to pretend that there's a bigger audience. It's fun, it's really fun, because otherwise then I'm just staring at you like, hi, Mr. German. So I just, back wall, just looking up at the pretend upper deck. But anyways, so here's my Spanish joke about Maroon 5. So check this out. Did you know the band Maroon 5 has a different name in Latin American countries? Yeah, it's true. In Latin American countries, Maroon 5 is known as Cinco Pendejos. And that's true because I saw it on Wikipedia when I put it there. What's that? Another band joke? Sure, how about this one? You know my favorite thing about the band Mumford & Sons? Is that we know exactly who to blame. So that's nice. So I don't know if you've noticed the way I hablo español. I like to go overboard. I like to show it off. I do like to pretend I'm an undercover Latino. But LA offers me plenty of opportunities to just go overboard my español. Like whenever I go to a Mexican restaurant and I overhear someone order something like a chicken quesadilla, chicken fajitas, chimichangas, something like that. By the way, it's a tragedy that Eric Estrada and Celia Cruz never teamed up for anything. They could have had a variety show called Chips and Salsa. That one's on the house. So anyways, whenever I go to a Mexican restaurant, I overhear someone order something like that. I just cannot resist going completely overboard and basically start auditioning for a telenovela that nobody's shooting. Just all of a sudden, it could be night and the sun's in my eyes and you know, belleza. It could be a dude, I don't care. Preciosa belleza. En este momento yo deseo 3 tacos de carne asada, una torta de jamón, una peñafiel, 3 churros, y que Dios te bendiga, buen provecho, y todo eso. And then when I'm feeling extra confident, I'll throw in some bonus words like, entonces, por supuesto, crepúsculo. The problem is I have this face and demeanor, so I'll order in Spanish sometimes, and then in return I'll get a, okay, do you want hijo de tu puta madre? Fine, sir, Juan, I will have some of that green whack-a-mole, whatever that is. I know what that is, but, you know, anyways. But really, I don't know if anyone's watched a telenovela or not, but if you haven't, I have a different reference. I like to show off my español like a Latino reporter. Okay, I don't know if anyone still watches the news, but if you do, pay attention to any reporter whose last name ends in EZ, and that's how I hablo español, because these reporters take any and every opportunity to cherish the rich cultural tapestry of the Spanish language, and that's how I prefer to hablar español, like a Latino reporter wrapping up a segment, something like, police don't have any further information on the suspect, reporting live from El Camino Real in Santa Clara. This is Gustavo Gutierrez, el mero más chingón, tú sabes, güey, for ABC 7 News. Back to you, Nancy. Thank you, that's my time. My name's Billy Ramirez. You can find me at billyramirez.com, and thank everyone for joining us here on Funky Friday at LA School of Comedy. Please welcome back to stage Sunda Kronquist.
You're always funny. I hope you guys had a good time. I took a few pictures, so you gotta take my phone number, and we'll get them to you, because I put them in your phone and in your phone, so you all hate me. And if you're thinking about doing a podcast, and if, you know, guys, people who are watching, if people tell you you're funny, you probably are, but you won't know until you take it from the page to the stage. Like this, are you going up tonight? No, right? coming back?
Potentially.
You mean like Edgar Allan Poe? Potentially. You gotta come. I know. I'm so glad. I know the whole thing, the hip hop, hip hop, do you?
Yeah.
Right? You do, right?
Yeah.
You got that in you. She's funny. It was nice to see women in comedy, right? We need more women in comedy. And if you're watching, all evacuees and first responders, you know where to come. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we are here. And if you want to do a podcast, you can call us. And of course, Aaron's teaching, so it's going to be a fun time. And everybody needs to get something off their chest. And if you want cleavage from mine, I have to bend over. There's nothing left. And he laughed too hard at that, but he's real. I thank you all. You can find me on all platforms on Sunda Live. Thank you and good night.